This, you can tell this is an aging comedian who has to get his notes out, isn't it? This was the one about, oh yes, there's a fellow went on a cruise. I like this. He went on a cruise and the ship set off, you know, and he's walking along the deck and a guy comes along, one of the officers is all dressed in white, you know, and he says he walks over to the officer and he said, excuse me, he said, could you tell me where the toilets are? And the officer said, port side. He said, don't even stop at Gibraltar, he said. That's good. Yeah, I like that one. What was that one? Oh, the one about the fellow who used to drink a lot, and his wife was in bed, but it was like 1:30 in the morning, and she heard this commotion downstairs, and they said, whoa, right racket going on, and she shouted down, what are you doing? What are you doing? He said, I'm just trying to get a barrel of beer upstairs, he said. She said, well, leave it there while I'm on, and he said, I can't, I've drunk it. That tickled me, that one. Let's do the one about the patrol out in the Middle East. So we do that one, you know that one. And the officer said, right lads, he said there's a curfew, he said. And he said anybody who's out on the streets after 11 o'clock is up to no good, he said, and you're quite at liberty to shoot him, you see. So they're all stood around there like, you know, it gets 10:30 and 22:11 and 22:11 and a kind of an Arab creature went past on his bike and the fellow lifted up his gun, one of the soldiers, he went and shot him. And the officer said, oh my God, look, he said, look at the time, 22:11, he said, I told you the curfew didn't start till 11 o'clock. Oh no, so he said, I know where he lives, he said, he'd have never been home by 11 o'clock. I think I'm going on too long here. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll do Robin Hood first, and then we'll do the parrot joke. Robin Hood was he's dying really. Was what was happening to him. He was kind of breathing his last. Well, it comes to us all. And he's lay there, you know, kind of dressed in his Lincoln green, you know. And he's surrounded by his merry men. Just what you want, isn't it, when you're dying? Yeah, you do. You need to be surrounded by 60 or 70 fellas, all dressed in green, you know, all telling jokes and laughing. I mean, you don't need that, do you, when you're dying? But, you know, I guess he was a bit like a chorus director to them, you know, wasn't he? And he's surrounded by his merry men, and Robin said, he said, fetch me my bow, he said, of trusty English yew. It's wood, it's a tree. Nothing to do with sheep. He said, you, he said, fetch me my bow. So they brought his bow, and Robin says to him, to one of these merry men, he said, open the window, you see. So he kind of gets to the window, and he opens the kind of window. I said they had sash windows in the 16th century. I don't know. But they gave him an arrow, see, and with his dying strength, he just manages to notch the arrow into the bow, and he said, I want you to bury me. He said, where this arrow lands, and he was gone. He died like that. And they did. They buried him where it landed, on top of the wardrobe. Right, I'm gone. Final joke. I make no apologies for telling these old jokes. I make no apologies for it. They're like old songs to me, these. And they earn me a similar amount of money as well. No, this is of all jokes. This is the classic. This is the one about the magician on the ship. Don't tell your neighbour the punchline. If it's an American sat next to you, or a German, or a Swede, you don't tell them the punchline. Even though you're going to be laughing before we get there. Was it Roy Clark that said the Budgie Association had said Dawson was an endangered species? Was it Clark that said that? Right, so he's doing his act on this 3-month cruise, you see, the magician, in the cabaret lounge, and in the corner there's a parrot in a cage. And every night, as he's doing his act, the parrot is ruining his act, you see. He's just going to do the bunch of cards, you know, the cards, and the parrot says, "Eight of spades." And it's a bunch of flowers, not the bunch of cards. The flowers come up, and the parrot says, "Bunch of flowers." He's just going to pull the rabbit out, and the parrot says, "It's a rabbit!" And one night, for some reason that the joke doesn't explain, the boilers on the ship overheat, see, and the whole thing, up, boom, the whole lot goes up. And when the dust had settled, all that was left was a raft with the magician on it, and of course the parrot. And they floated alone on a wide sea for 6 days, and the parrot never said a word. Told you you'd be laughing before we got to the island. And on the 7th day, the parrot said, "Okay," he said, "I give up. What have you done with the ship?"